And good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for jumping on with us. My name is Zach with ATS. I'm our National Accounts Manager. I work with multiple firms across Canada and the US in helping them get set up on our systems. And I also do all of our ATS University sessions for the most part. We run a mostly weekly, about 3 month ATS University sessions where we cover either products in detail, like we did last week on some of the Whitehall products for behavioral applications. We may do deep dives into application specifics with our template overviews and when and why you're selecting different products for different applications. And then we have sessions like today where we're talking about new features, coming features on the SpecTool, and really providing a more in-depth discussion on the development of our tool. For those of you that may be unfamiliar, ATS SpecTool is a free online plumbing selection or product selection tool, more than just plumbing these days, as you'll see during the presentation, that allows architect, engineers, contractors to configure their selections, make sure they are getting a rules-based selection with helping you get the right product for the right applications, kind of our core mantra. With me today is our product manager. I call him development of all things awesome on the SpecTool. Justin, you've been with us for, I think, 4 years now, coming up on four.
It feels like four, but it's only been almost three.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Really has spearheaded the development of what we call SpecTool 3.0. If you're familiar with some of the history of ATS, we've been around since 1969 with the first iteration of our SpecTool being a manual, which then moved online after moving to, I think, a CD for a bit. We've had now three different major overhauls of how our data is put together and leading to our own web platforms as well. So we'll be walking through today some of the new features on the SpecTool. And one of my favorite things about sessions like this, almost every ATS university, I am left with about 5 minutes or so to try to do a SpecTool demo at the end and show where you can find the products that we're talking about during those sessions. So if you're with me today, we actually have some time to do a non-rushed version of a SpecTool demo and show you some of the ins and outs of how you can make your selections a little bit easier, a little bit more efficiently. And that's really goal of all of our tools and features that we've been working on. So we'll dive in. We'll do your ATS SpecTool, a bit of a general overview. We'll cover what's new. We'll show you how you can find it on the live demo of the SpecTool. Then we'll give you a bit of a sneak peek on some of the coming features as well, and make sure you know how you can contact us and how you can get started. I would imagine most of the people that are with us today are probably already using the SpecTool, or whether you're using our email spec service, whether you are interacting directly with your account managers like myself and the rest of my team, or if you're making product selections yourself on the SpecTool. So far, we're having a great start to the year, over 120,000 products specified on the system so far, over 10,000 projects already, and we are on to about 82% of all of our products on the SpecTool have a Revit file for download. You may know better than I, Justin, but do you have any idea of how many total products we have on the SpecTool? It's well over 1 million now.
Yeah, I think it's like 1.5 million. I think we're at.
Yeah,
Talked to the team yesterday about this.
that's about I would say a little over 1 million Revit files, let alone the rest of the products. So basics of ATS SpecTool, like I mentioned, we are trying to provide code compliant recommendations to the market. The image we're showing is even a little bit out of date. Probably should have noticed that as I was getting this deck together, but this would be from a couple of months ago, this image. Things have changed and gotten updated, but as you select in your location, you get building code compliant product based on that location. As you select your application, we make recommendations based on your application. So one of the examples I've used since the very beginning, if you were building a school, you're going to need different product than if you were building an office. And that office is going to have different product than a hospital, which is going to have different product requirements than a prison or police station. all of those rules are built into our rule engine, which is at the core of our ATS SpecTool offering. We've got hundreds of thousands of products, or I guess in these days into the millions of products. You have the ability to organize and collaborate both within your firm, within your office. So some firms have multiple offices. You can coordinate across offices, and now you can even coordinate across firms. So if you are working on your fixture selections and the finishes with your architect, you could start a project on the SpecTool, share it to them. They can have access to edit and revise along with you. So when we're showing you some of the finish options that you have on the SpecTool later, you could invite them to collaborate and help assist with that. You can also organize your selections through either quick specs, projects, or master specifications. And of course, one of the basics of ATS is our spec experts, the spec team that is available to assist in making selections for you, helping out with product questions, helping out with code questions to make sure that you have a human interaction that helps select the right product for the right application. Some of our long-standing partners have new product that we're going to discuss, from the new Frankie sinks, Murdoch, and expanding their drinking fountain line. Watts has been adding new products to their scope for years. Zoller's got new quick pivot panel control panels. Lixil with American Standard Grow, you're launching new products. Sloan's got new finishes on all their faucets. A.O. Smith has a extra large volume cyclone that just launched. There's all sorts of new product coming onto the site, and that's just from our long-standing partners. Well, we have also brought on a handful of new manufacturers, whether that be Stern with the behind the wall soap, water, air, or behind the mirror, sorry, soap, water, air lavatory stations, HoldRite with all their fire stopping products and their water heater support products. Williams Brothers coming in to provide a variety of things, from our first step into fire cabinets, as well as some access door products. Mission Rubber Company coming back onto the site to provide all their couplings, everything from your typical 2 or 4 band, standard duty, heavy duty couplings, all the way to their flex couplings and transition couplings are now on the SpecTool as well. And then exciting manufacturer called Firstco that has joined on our first step, kind of tippy-toeing into HVAC with their air handler units, their PTAC units for residential applications, multifamily applications, where you're doing, say, a condo. These are great personal air conditioners, and they also do amenity spaces. In terms of what's new in the SpecTool itself, we have done some reconfiguration of our dashboards and the widgets to help get you started. We've adjusted how you find masters and templates, as well as how they're being used. We've edited some of the configuration steps to provide a different visibility to finishes and swatches, and of course, these new products and their categories on the site. So in terms of the dashboard, Justin, these are some pretty simple changes in terms of UI, but some interesting ones. Like, I know getting started has always been a question. So could you talk about kind of the changes in terms of getting started with your selection bucket and the ways that we've updated that?
Yeah, so longtime users will know this already, but when we were on the dashboard, there wasn't a lot of clear calls to action for our users. Those who used our systems already kind of understood that, just because they're used to the ecosystem. But we're trying to capture those new users, people at a university, younger users.
Oh, we lost your audio there.
Oh no, do you hear me now?
Yeah, we're good now.
Okay, just like lean super close to my microphone. Okay. So we're trying to capture a lot more people, and we want to give them better direction and calls to action on how to use our tool, especially those who are unfamiliar. So if we look at this page, we're looking at a couple things. Quick actions, I want to point out first. So we originally had some dashboard items in there to like start new projects, masters, or quick specs. But we've actually, to save some space and allow for a little bit more room on that dashboard, a little bit more communication, we've kind of consolidated that into quick actions, which is a way for us to quickly access, quick or always used items. We have the welcome to SpecTool. This is basically just giving new users an overview of like, what are we doing here? Why are we on SpecTool? Where do we start? So of course, we want to start with a project or a quick spec to say, what am I going to specify? What's it for? Where is it? And then the other widget we have there on the bottom right-hand side is my engagement. So this one, we had a lot of feedback that they enjoyed and they like to know information about like firm level, but what about user level? Like me as an engineer, what are the things that I'm working on? How many projects, quick specs, how many products have I specified? Just general feedback to see what kind of engagement you're having with our system and how much stuff you have on our system as well. And then on the far left-hand side, you'll see a few new navigation items there, masters and ATS templates. We've split those up and just changed a little bit of verbiage to make that a little more clear as to what they are.
Yeah, I think the toolbar update was one of my favorites, just getting it right there, quick and easy to find, access, and dive into has been helpful for me. I did have a couple engineers reach out when they were talking about the engagement. I was doing like the rounds at the end of the year last year, and they were able like comparing across and be like, oh yeah, I beat them by like 1,000 products spec. So that was kind of fun. In terms of getting easier to start, I know one of the big things we launched late last year was templates, and these have been a continued work in progress. They're not done, but getting product into your project as fast as possible is really our goal. And the templates, if you're unfamiliar with them, are essentially like an ATS recommendation or an ATS master. You may take the templates and use those to create your own masters for ease, or you can go directly from our ATS templates into a project. Any other aspects of the templates I'm missing in terms of the general intro there?
No, it's just like what we're doing at ATS, just for me in terms of SpecTool, we're trying to make the process from when we log into SpecTool to when we generate our specification documents, that whole workflow to be faster. In order for us to do that, we wanted to help empower our users to help build their own masters if they didn't have one to start, or have somewhere in a project where that we could start as well. So when we give you our ATS templates, if you're looking for a high traffic master as an example, or that the building that you're going to specify is going to be high traffic, we have somewhere for you to start. So you can build your own master and then edit it according to your needs. And then those masters obviously are available to your firm to use on future projects. We are also always updating those templates as well. So like you'll see new templates coming in there occasionally. It's not on a particular schedule or anything, but you'll see more and more go there and more project and building types as time goes on.
Yeah, I think we started with like the top 10 applications used on the system, and then have been continuing to round those out, continuing to add more over time. One thing that I found really interesting with the templates is that they're not just within the actual SpecTool system. And I'll show you this when we get to the demo page portion as well. You can download these almost as a brochure. So if you want more educational reading on long-term care, you could download this now, or obviously use it within your project. So a couple of different options for how you interact with them, and you can access it from atspec.com/templates. And I'll show you how you can find that during the demo portion. One of the other aspects, sorry, just trying to, was adding finishes. So could you talk about the drive towards improvement on our swatches?
Yeah, so when we were if you've been on our system, you'll know that when we configure products, often finishes are required, of course, on things like fixtures. In this case, we have on Spectrum locker bodies. Some of the feedback we got is like, well, what does like Elm look like, or what does khaki brown look like? So we're giving our users a better idea, like from words to images. So we're not always picking TBD when we're specifying these products. So we can have a little more granularity in what we're specifying, as well as give a little bit more context to what those swatches, like what that finish actually looks like. to help again aid in that configuration process.
And this started on lockers and partitions, but I believe the plan is to continue to roll it out across other categories as well, right?
So swatches on the bathroom accessories, specifically around like fabric or like spectrum lockers. Those ones are not quite live on prod, but they should be very, very soon. So you guys should start seeing swatches in those categories.
In terms of finding products faster, some of these have been continuing to be developed over time. If you're familiar with the launch of 3.0 back in 2020, 2021, we had a number of all these different categories, but how do you find these categories? So improvement on the actual back end for the search return time has made improvements there. So as weird as it is, to go from a couple of seconds down to less than a second in search return result. I can't pretend to understand the details of that the way that Justin can't pretend to understand the details of backflow preventer selection. But hey, I'm noticing that it's returning the results faster. So I love that. But also the ability just to pin your favorite categories. There's so much in the ATS tool now, and not everything applies to everyone. So you can pin your favorite categories. They're going to be there the next time you log in. And you'll be able to find everything from, say, your PTAC unit to your pump or your water heater, whatever it is that kind of speaks to you and is something that you're selecting is available right there at the top. Some of the other aspects, we've integrated manufacturer's spec sheet without having to open the product. Again, a small piece, but everything in Justin's world is minimizing clicks. So now without having to expand, you can access the spec sheet and even some other improvements there where we're hoping to access, say, pump sizing curves and things like that in the future. So we'll show you when we get to those. Sort by most popular and also select by most popular. So when you're within a category, once you click in, you're going to see all the different product that's available, but being able to see not just maybe the rules-based application at the top, but being able to see what other users are selecting most commonly within that category. And similarly, the ability to configure an entire selection just by the most popular attributes as well. In terms of also helping you find the product faster, there's new sliding bar filters. So if you are selecting a sink and you need it to be 20 by 20 or somewhere between 19.5 inches to 22.5 inches, you can adjust your bar filters to show only the products that fit within that realm. And all those are designed around helping you find products faster. In terms of some of the new categories, we had some new product launches and updated product from different manufacturers. Top two, both from the Watts family of brands. They've launched their electric snow melt systems, which are now on the system, configurable, as well as showing the entire string, the fixture chain of all the different products that you would need from your control panel to your snow melt sensors and accessories. And then, of course, all the identification that's required of where and what is what. And obviously, you can see that select most popular function that I mentioned previously is there. We've added the ACV and particularly the new antimicrobial coating, the anti-mic coating Armor Tech, which is now available on the Watts ACV category as a configurable function. This is also rolling out across their backflow. We've updated the product configuration with swatches for partitions from Bobrick, as well as updated the CSI output spec. Really took a lot of time and work on that CSI output spec, and we're happy to say that we've got an improved version that's ready for launch. And then, of course, the PTAC units from Firstco, all the PTAC, air handler, and fan coils from Firstco are available for configuration on SpecTool. So if you are working on an amenity space or you're working on the PTAC for an individual unit, then you can get that all configured and available on the SpecTool now. Some more new products. from Frankie, they've got a whole new line of more residential sinks, but we are seeing these in, call it light use commercial applications. The cafes in your office facility, maybe a higher end commercial application where they want a matte black or they want an onyx. And you can see there's a whole line of these Frankie kitchen systems that have a little bit more of the residential design kind of squared off, but a whole suite of them with a variety of finishes from champagne to onyx, stone gray, etc. And I think these are ones that you're looking at doing swatch previews in the future as well. Dog wash stations from the Stern Williams and Fiat brands. So new pet wash station that's standardly available, comes with all the different features you might need. Acid resistant products. So we've improved the acid resistant drain and pipe systems from Orion that are available. If you're working on data centers, if you're working on high purity applications, these are specifically designed for those. We've got a detailed presentation coming up in a short amount of time. I believe it's late next month, maybe early May, where they're going to do a deep dive CEU on the new products from Orion. Very impressive. And for those sorts of applications, you have to go to the nth degree of engineering for the product, and these fit those perfectly. And of course, the large volume water heaters from A.O. Smith, which our launch presentation had to get rescheduled last month, but we've got it coming up later this month. We're going to introduce the new extra large volume water heaters, still within the Cyclone line, so the same time tested and favorable product now available. So I think it's the BTHL 750 and 1000. So with all that being said, if there are any questions, feel free to pop them in. But I think the best way to handle is probably to do a bit of a demo and show you all those things in a little bit more detail on the actual SpecTool. But yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to pop them into the Q&A chat. Justin, in case I'm not seeing them, feel free to interrupt me and bring those up. So as mentioned, ATS spec is, it's login specific. So once you sign up, you'll have your login. That'll be all within your firm. You'll be in your firm's account where you can share all your projects and everything. But before you even log in, there's a lot of information that's available. So if you go to this architect and engineers hub here, you've got the learning hub where we've got our ATS knowledge base, blogs, cheat sheets, sizing guides, different aspects of, helping you determine what the right products are. We've got all our various webinar recordings. So all the previous sessions that we've done, which are all available to reference and rewatch. So if you want a detailed discussion on how to size a water heater, that's in there. Tutorial videos, and of course our FAQs. The webinars all here again, so you can see the one that we did last week, the week before. Great presentation. You'll see there's I would say 3 or 4 main buckets of these presentations. Either a detailed code discussion, specifically on barrier-free usually, an application discussion, or particular products, always trying to iterate it back to how do these fit within your project. And then of course our templates that I mentioned before. So all these templates are available either here to download ahead of time, where you can download your CA or US version. There are different versions because there's different barrier-free code, different product availability across the borders. So you can download the submittal versions or the brochures and get a quality overview of what should be going into these applications. You could also hit the Start a Live project and start putting it into an upcoming project that you may have. Once you've logged in, you'll be able to, you see yourself here. You can go to your team organization settings and see who's in your office. Obviously, this is our demo account, so it's more limited, but you would be able to see who's in your team there. Obviously, we talked about the Start Now button. You hit this, it's going to help you get started on your first project. Put in your location details. That's going to start determining what rules you need to build by. So if you're in BC, We are working on getting those new BC building code updates into the system, similar for Alberta, etc. If you are just doing a quick spec, again, probably good to iterate. Quick spec is kind of your fastest way to get product into a bucket and move that into a download. However, it does not have the rules engine to it. There's no building code applied. There's no application code applied. But if I just need a floor drain, this is the fastest way to go through and start selecting your floor drain. If you know exactly your model number, if you have a favorite floor drain, say an FD320, you could search it here. Or if you've already pinned your category, I could select it from my pinned. I can search for floor drain and I can pin it and get into that product selection. From here, you can then start configuring it. You can use these filters to find exactly what you're looking for. You can use that same search button here, but obviously we can see that FD320 is one of the most popular. This is our mechanical room floor drain. As we mentioned, you can download the spec sheet. So the manufacturer's spec sheet is available for all of the product before you even start configuring the selection. So if you want to see, maybe compare what is this floor drain versus the FD100, well, you can do that quickly and simply just by reviewing the two spec sheets that are all built in. I can then expand this and start my selection. If I want to, say, have a 4-inch outlet, it's a no hub connection. I got my standard body. Do I need a funnel? Do I need a vandal proof? Do I need a sediment bucket? Or any of these other options I can go through. Obviously, there's some time involved in clicking those, waiting for reset. It didn't seem that long to me, but I do understand that time is always of the essence and milliseconds matter. So if you want to reset it and just go with the most popular version, you can do that as well. It'll pre-select the most common options. You can see our vandal proof and our trap primer tapping. Then I can hit add to product and it'll move along the selection. If there's anything else in the selection that is kind of a paired requirement or a paired recommendation, so obviously floor drain kind of just going on its own, but if this is a water heater, it would recommend your expansion tank, it would recommend maybe your water heater stand. We can hit complete. We've got an auto-generated drawing label, which of course I can update and change. If this is the FD2, it'll update that. You can see I've got Revit here, my CAD and my spec, all available here from my kind of edit drawings page. And I could select this, download, and download it in my submittal format, my schedule, my long spec, my manufacturer spec sheet, the Revit file, CSI 3-part spec sheet, so many options, generate documents, and get all of those all at once. Now, a lot of people do question, why is it that you'd want to go use SpecTool, say, versus the manufacturer's website itself? And to me, the biggest thing is that integration of multiple downloads, multiple word specs, a customized fixture schedule, the manufacturer spec, a submittal spec. All those together is what I think is the benefit of ATS, getting 6 different formats all at once. Plus, it's actually configured to your selection and not just a general selection. Obviously, we provide the ability as well to have a configured selection or a general selection with our unsized version, but there's not many places that you are going to get configured selections customized to your project. Moving along, if we go back to our dashboard, wanted to cover our project creation as well. So one thing I've done, I do it for every one of our demos. I get prepared. I go into a project and I start, pre-selection of projects. So I've got my new SpecTool features project that I set up here just a couple of minutes before the demo. You can see I've already put in my location, my application, my building date. That's going to keep my products up to date up until the date that you select. So, if we selected March 21st, up until the 21st, I'm going to get manufacturer updates on, say, they've updated this model number. I'm going to get a notification saying, hey, this model number's been updated. You probably need to re-download your documents. After that, it's going to go into a static form. You can see I've gone through and selected a bunch of the pieces here. Now, the easiest way to get these created, you can see I've got a couple of empty products here, is simply to go use your masters. So if you've got masters or ATS templates, I can go to, say, my, let's do a water sense. So I'm going to search for the water sense. I've got lead water sense apartment here. I can go into this template and start making selections. We can also go into various masters and start using these selections. It's a very similar process. But we'll go back to our
mention. If you want to go back to that lead water sense template,
yeah.
You'll notice that there's like a ton of drawings in those projects. So we also have search now in there. So we can search for drawing labels. We can search for products with that little search box at the top there for whichever product group you're inside. So if you wanted to find WC2, you can do WC whatever, and it'll just append that list to what you're looking for.
Fantastic. Very cool. And now what you can do is select, just the individual product and copy this individual product into the project that you've been working on. So we called this new SpecTool features, and I could copy this into my, new SpecTool features second product group. I could copy an entire template into that product group. And I could go through and copy an entire master into this. You can also go product group by product group and copy them individually. Or like we mentioned before, go to that add new drawing and select them one by one. Now we're kind of getting ahead of ourselves, and this is going to be in the sneak peek feature. But there's a brand new feature that we're doing internal testing on now, which I think is an even better variation of this template and master usage. You can see here, I've got masters, templates, pin drawings. That same information that's in there is available here. I could go, this is our quick access drawer, and I could go through and find my office master template. I can search by different product groups. So let's say this is a hardwired application. I can drag this entire product group directly into my file here, and it's going to take everything from this product group and pop it into, the project that I'm working on. If I need just a single fixture, I could drag just the single fixture over and get that in there. And if I wanted to say I'm doing a number of these and I know that I love this particular concealed flush valve with the floor mounted combo, I can hit this little pin button and this will move into my pin drawings. And then I can drag and drop from my pin drawings over into this product group as well. So if I want to say add my pipes and fittings, I've got a favorite eye wash that I use on all my jobs. I love the 1814. I can drag that over. This is my go-to water heater, my go-to backflow, and my go-to pump. Just drag and drop, and it'll update the selection. And of course, you can do the same thing within your own firm masters. So I've talked masters and templates a couple of times. Again, just to mention the difference is ATS templates is kind of our recommendations, and your masters may be your own firm's recommendations. So we have an ATS drainage master. So as an example, I'll show you that. If you search within here, we get our drainage master there. And then you may have your, Zach and Justin's awesome firm drainage master. And you'd be able to copy, again, that entire drainage master could be copied in, or you can go group by group and select, say, just your valves and regulators. So if you just need backflow and PRVs, you can take from there. Or if you need an interceptor that is approved by your firm only uses the lowboy style, the CSA approved lowboy style. then you can choose from that. That gives your admins, your team leaders a little bit of say, so that you can have an approved selection that then your EITs and your designers can use in their projects. So that's one of the coming features that we have. And you can see again, like the same products that I was talking about just now are shown here. That's how I built this out in less than 10 minutes before the feature. And then again, you would be then able to either select all drawings, and this is going to download all these different product groups, or we can select just the individual product group, or we can select just the individual fixture. So that's one of the things that also came in to help speed up your download time, but often gets a little overlooked. So let's go back to our drawings. I did want to show just a general drawing here. We talked about the PTAC units a couple of times, these package terminal air conditioners, the Eco Series from FirstCo available here. So you can configure this, make your selection. If you want more details on the FirstCo PTAC unit, maybe you've not heard of FirstCo before. They're growing. They've had a great foothold in the US for a long time and joined on with us, obviously, to help develop the Canadian footprint. But widely available in Canada already, CSA approved, number of projects within. This would be more for your individual condo unit. You might have one for each condo. And then you can also go back to the categories. We could start selecting our water heaters. Like mentioned, we added on the A.O. Smith or the hold right supports. So once you select your water heater, it'll then add in the rest of the fixture chain, which will include your expansion tank, which is always a recommended selection from the manufacturer. And then your water heater support, whether it's a drain pan on the ground, a stand, or it could be the wall hung in the ceiling type. And we have this size so it matches gallonage to gallonage of the product. And goes on through. Now we've added a number of other products onto the system, like we mentioned in the deck side. We've got the leak defense system here that's available. We could find the snow melt systems that we were talking about. The sinks, I guess, would be something worth highlighting as well. Sinks is a bit of a catch-all. There's a lot of things that count as a sink in here. So if you were looking for maybe your prayer room or the voodoo unit, I believe that's in the sink category. So we've got our foot wash stations for your prayer room. You might be looking at those, the Frankie kitchen systems with the nice different finishes that just came on available. And we mentioned these sliders as well. So if I want to say adjust my depth to show just the, say, 7 to 12, apply range. So now these are the appropriate products that meet. Of course, I can select by my material as well. Go with my granite style. And then you've got all those different finishes available, from your mocha to your onyx or a matte black. And it'll update the model number, update the images as we go. You can include all the additional options. I think that about covers it for the demo. Anything else that we need to cover on the demo side?
We could take a look at the pumps category.
The pumps, good point. So let's dive into pumps. Oh yeah, great, thank you. So we've integrated, this is our first integration of the manufacturer sizing tools onto the system. So just by clicking this button, it'll take you into the Zoller pump sizing tool. where you can add your design points, configure your, it'll tell you, you need this J4295. You could then configure your 295 to that. The other cool thing we've done, we've integrated the pump curves onto the system now as well. So if you're trying to debate, well, which pump do I need, the N161 or the N153? You could call up your pump curves, get your design point. If you've got, say, 20 feet ahead and 50 GPM, it's going to take you out here. You'd be looking at a 153. But if I look at the 161, that same 20 feet ahead, 50 GPM, I'd only be looking at, my 163 here. So kind of gives you the opportunity to, at a quick glance, take a look at the pump and, does it fit your design point on the application? And of course, wouldn't be a demo if I don't go through and show all the different features that are available, all the different downloads that are available. So I talked about the Revit before. When you download Revit, this is what it looks like. You get the fixture tags for the entire project, puts your Revit file within it. I don't have Revit on my tool, so I can't show that to you. We pop open a long spec here. All of our formats are open and editable. So what this does is give you the ability to simply copy and paste the pieces that you need. You copy the entire document and put it in there. Of course, if you need to add in your alternates, you can do so as well. If you're not using a Watts expansion tank and you're using like an arm troll, you could delete that section and just copy this and put this directly into your own written documentation. Similarly, for the schedule, your schedule is going to have multiple tabs based on, I need to move my faces here, multiple tabs. So we've got our plumbing schedule, the drain schedule, backflow schedule, water heater schedule, accessory schedule, whatever category it is going to show up here. And it's also going to adjust the headers to be the most industry appropriate headers. We've done a big deep dive into the industry standards, figure out exactly the most commonly used pieces. And again, you could copy and paste this, put directly onto your CAD drawings, however it is you need.
Yeah, one
and
thing
then
to
we talked about the submittal formats where I showed earlier the other floor drain. Here we've got our configured backflow. We've got our water heater selection with all different pieces, the pump selection. And then you may be asking, well,
one thing, Zach, I want to mention real quick, just on the short spec. One of the things feedback we got on the long and short spec was they do a lot of copy and pasting into like their shop drawings or other CAD files. So we have options there before you print to exclude all the page formatting. You can imagine when you copy a document that has multiple columns, it doesn't copy in cleanly. So we remove all that page formatting for you. And then in regards to the schedule, we have an option to print that in all caps if we like.
Perfect. Very cool. So I just showed you there. If you click on the name, you can toggle this box for exclude page formatting, and on the schedule, print in all caps. So we'll generate these buttons real quick. While I'm doing that, I'll show the manufacturer spec sheet, gives you a table of contents, and then each page will have your fixture tag, what the model is, and then the actual manufacturer spec sheet as well. So if you're doing, say, shop drawing review, engineers have found this really valuable. You may use the ATS submittal when you're going out, or you may use our written specs when you're going out. But when those shop drawings come back, the manufacturer spec sheet version can be very helpful to, compare, are you getting apples to apples when you're doing your shop drawing review? There we go. All caps, nice and easy. Great point, Justin. It's one of those things, like it's such a small little piece and we don't know about it until we get feedback. And to give those on the call a little bit of insight, that's where all these development features came from. I remember the feedback when you were in the meeting where they told us they need, less formatting. It's like, oh, we didn't know that was going to be important for you. Absolutely. Well, and we had it done in like less than a month. So yeah, if you have feedback, please feel free to reach out to us. That's where uh, pin categories, search for categories, select most favorite, these new formats. That's where all these pieces of these new feature developments came from. So I think that's about it on the demo side. Do want to give you again a little sneak peek into what's coming. So we obviously I got excited and already gave insight into the quick access drawer. We talked about the sizing tool integrations a little bit. So we'll show that in a little bit more detail here. So again, the ability just to drag and drop from your templates, from your particular firm's masters, or from your favorite pin drawings. If you got, I've got favorite toilets out there. I've got favorite faucet combos. I'm going to pin all those and I can just drag and drop super easily. Pump sizing curves and pump sizing tools. And this won't be restricted to just the pump category. We'll have sizing tools from other manufacturers integrated in as well. We would love the ability to go back to the day where we can develop our own internal sizing tools for all these different categories. It's really not needed. All these manufacturers have their own sizing tools and the ability just to have a quick reference button that pops open a new tab. You can size it, stay on the SpecTool, and then select exactly what size. Some of the future dashboard and improvements as well. We mentioned how there's all the information on cheat sheets, sizing guides, engineering data sections, blogs on different applications. Having those integrated into our dashboard is going to make it much easier to find and access, become a little bit more informative as well. Updates on new products or new catalogs, maybe some feature products, things like that. But having our best practice breakdowns available here so that this is a bit of a learning forum as well as a selection tool. Any other aspects of the dashboard improvement? No.
Nope, that just about covers it.
And then, of course, the team that's here to help you. I assume you've been on these calls before. You probably know my name by now. I manage our accounts team, but for the Quebec and Maritimes area, we do have Melanie Filteau, Western Canada covering the engineers, as well as lending some support to different areas as well. Natalia Ramos, Mo Bashir, locally for me here in Ontario. He's been taking over all my clients as I take more management aspect. And then in the US on the West Coast, we've got Phil Houston. So all these people are here to help. If you need a lunch and learn for your firm on any of our manufacturers, if you need a demo on the SpecTool, you want to have any specific questions answered, you want to give us feedback, reach out to the team. They'll be able to, maybe help get your own firm masters set up. That's what our team is really there to do. And of course, they'll provide training for your team on how to use those masters once they're there. In terms of next steps, if you don't already have an account, feel free to visit atspec.com, hit the sign up button, reach out to myself directly. You can book a demo with any of our teams, have access to our calendars, book in a virtual meeting. We'll jump on that and lend some support. Other ways you can access support through our live chat function. You can access our learning hub like I showed for the previously recorded videos, tutorials, and webinars. Of course, you can also submit a service desk ticket and get our spec team to help you build a project for you. If you've not built on the system before, or you're in deadline time and you don't have time to make those selections yourself, we're also here to do that. You can send us over your schedule. You can send us over what you need or your drawings, and we'll do a takeoff. We'll make the selections for you on your account, and you can come back and make any changes you might need. With that all said, thank you very much for spending the time with us today. I'm happy to say I don't think we lost many people along the way. I'm always kind of nervous about that. It's one thing when we're talking product, but when we're talking about the SpecTool, I guess I'm appreciative of everyone sticking around and listening to me. as I drone on about, my favorite website. Maybe second favorite to the March Madness draft website these days. Thank you, Justin, for lending your wisdom and your support on, where we're going and what we're doing. I think there's a lot of cool features that are being developed and a lot of great work your team has done over the last year or two.
Thanks, Zach. And then again, just to kind of reinforce what Zach said, if you guys have feedback and things are bugging you on the system or you need help, like please do reach out, because that is how our systems get better. Your feedback is definitely what drives what we're doing.
And personally, I love when people reiterate the pieces that I've already brought up, because then it's not just Zach yelling at clouds again. I'm getting support. Like, yeah, this is an issue. Zach is right. We do have to fix this.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for spending your time with us, everyone on the call. Justin and your team, thanks for helping put this together. And we'll see you soon. If you're heading down to CMBX, I'll see you shortly. Bye for now, all.
Take care.